In English football, the story of Peter Knowles lingers like a question that will never be fully answered.
20 seconds left to play, and Knowles has equalised.
At 23, in the prime of his career, Knowles made a decision that stunned the footballing world. He stepped off the pitch for the last time, not due to injury, scandal, or the waning of ability, but because he found a purpose that eclipsed the lure of sporting fame. At a time when football was expanding its reach and elevating its stars to new heights of celebrity, Knowles made the extraordinary choice to leave it all behind. This was not an impulsive decision, but a calculated and deeply personal one, a move that decades later still resonates as one of the most unusual departures in the sport's history. Knowles was more than just a promising player. He was one of the finest of his generation, often compared to George Best. His skills, his vision, his hunger on the field all marked him out as a player destined for greatness. Yet for Peter Knowles, the bright lights of football's top stage became irrelevant in the shadow of his newfound faith. By the late 1960s, Knowles was already established as one of the brightest talents in English football. Signed by Wolverhampton Wanderers at the age of 17, his rise through the ranks was meteoric. He was a footballer of rare gifts, quick, strong and endlessly creative on the ball. For Wolves fans, he was the player who gave them hope amid the club's struggles. The partnership he formed with Derek Dougan, another Wolves icon, carried the team back to the First Division in 1967 after their bitter relegation just 2 years earlier. But even as Knowles' star ascended, something deeper stirred within him. His life-changing decision began not with a crisis of confidence or disillusionment with the game, but with a knock on the door. While on loan in Kansas City in 1969, as part of a promotion campaign for the sport in the United States, 2 Jehovah's Witnesses came calling. The encounter left an indelible mark on Knowles, leading to an internal conflict that would soon consume him. Returning to England for the 1969-70 season, Knowles began the campaign in blistering form. Wolves too were riding high, with Knowles scoring in the opening 3 games. On the surface, all seemed normal. Another promising season ahead, with the possibility of an England call-up looming as the 1970 World Cup approached. But Knowles had already made his decision. On September 6, 1969, after a 3-3 draw against Nottingham Forest, Peter Knowles walked off the pitch at Molineux for the last time. For Wolves, the news was met with disbelief. This wasn't just a talented player hanging up his boots, this was their star man, their talisman, a player whose future promised the kind of success that transforms clubs. Knowles, though, had chosen a different path. As a newly converted Jehovah's Witness, he could no longer reconcile the demands of professional football with his commitment to his faith. Football, once his passion, now seemed hollow, and the adulation that came with it became something he found deeply uncomfortable.
But I found that when I started reading the Bible and when I started trying to be a Christian, I found that after Wednesday, the nearer we got to Saturday, I was dragging myself away from my wife, and I was dragging myself away from religion. I was building myself up. As near I got to Saturday, I was starting to be on my own, and I was thinking about the game, and I was thinking how I was going to play, and what happened if somebody kicked me, or what happened if somebody was going to score, what would I do? And I was really getting involved in the game. And from Wednesday until Saturday, I might as well not be married. I might as well have been on my own. But this is wrong, because the Bible expects you to be a Christian 7 days a week.
The club refused to accept it at first. Wolves continued to lay out his kit in the dressing room for months after his departure, certain he would return. His teammates, his family and his fans were convinced it was a temporary lapse, that Knowles would soon come to his senses. But the months turned to years, and Peter Knowles never came back. Instead, he pursued a simpler life. He worked as a milkman, a tile salesman, a window cleaner, jobs far removed from the glamour of football, but ones that gave him the peace and satisfaction he sought. What makes Peter Knowles' story so compelling is not just the fact that he left football, but that he left at a time when everything was going right for him. Wolves were back in the First Division, Knowles was playing some of the best football of his career, and the national team seemed just within his grasp. He could have had it all, the fame, the fortune, the England caps. But for Knowles, football's glory paled in comparison to what he found in his faith. In his own words, he had lost his ambition for football. He had found something far more meaningful. And yet, for all the disbelief and disappointment from fans, there is an undeniable respect for the strength of his conviction. He wasn't driven out of football by injury, by scandal, or by a decline in form. He left on his terms, choosing a life that made sense to him. In an age where the cult of personality and the pursuit of material success dominate, Peter Knowles' decision stands out as almost incomprehensible. Football didn't fail him, he simply chose a different kind of success. For Wolves fans, the what-if question will always linger. Could Peter Knowles have been one of the greats? Almost certainly. His record at the time of his departure, 174 appearances and 61 goals, suggested that he was on the cusp of even greater things. Some believe that, had he continued, he would have been a key figure for England in the 1970 World Cup. The natural talent was there, the opportunity was there, but the desire to chase footballing glory had faded.
And I know the personality I am, the flair I've got, that I could one day break somebody's leg. No matter how long I play football, that no matter how long I am a Jehovah's Witness, or how near to perfection I come, I know for a fact that the personality I am, and I'm imperfect, that I could break somebody's leg. And I'd hate this on my mind. It's not the thought of breaking somebody's leg, it's just the thought that that person could be out of work, that person could be a cripple for the rest of his life. And when you're a cripple for the rest of your life and you've been earning £100 a week, you come down in wages. And that's going to be a big drop, especially if a footballer's got 4 or 5 kids. And also, when you're broken your leg, you're hanging about the house, you start being niggly with your wife. And it could easily break a marriage up. But people say, oh, this is rubbish. But it has happened. And I don't want this on my conscience. And I know the personality I am on a football field, that I could do this.
Now in his 70s, Peter Knowles remains steadfast in his decision. I've never regretted it, not once, he has said. For over 50 years he has lived a quiet life, preaching the Bible, working humble jobs, and remaining at peace with the path he chose. It is a life that contrasts sharply with the football world he left behind, a world where players are celebrated, scrutinised, and all too often discarded when their talents fade. Knowles, though, walked away before the game could take anything from him. He chose his own ending, and in doing so became a legend of a different kind. In a sport that often celebrates the relentless pursuit of success, Peter Knowles' story serves as a reminder that there is more to life than football. For him, leaving the game wasn't about walking away from glory, it was about walking towards something greater. In the end, Peter Knowles wasn't chasing trophies or fame, he was chasing peace, and he found it.
Have you ever got a red card in your career?
Not in England, but Wolves went out to America and we played in a tournament, and I got the red card there. I was shouting and swearing and the referee sent me off. But because we were in America, I could still carry on playing in the next game, so there we are. But that's the only red card I ever got. Yeah.